Good morning, people. So I am tasked to present the what transpired during the FGD that we had last December 15, if I'm not mistaken, just right after the meeting, or we had our FGD at 1:30 yata. And of course, there we've noticed that during the sharing, um, we've noticed that all of the subject areas with regard to the milk, they consider the real life scenarios. So, and aside from that, people share, members of the group also share that they know their students well, and they ask the students how they're going to learn the subject in a fun and easy way. And with that, we've also asked the students during our previous sessions na paano nyo ma-enjoy yung klase. So, we could come up with an activity, and during that activity, you can showcase your talent. So, lumabas doon sa discussion naming mga teachers na some students pala are into singing, some students are into writing, some students are into a drama, or and then even the TikTok. So the group decided na why not come up with an activity wherein all the talents or the skills of the students can be showcased, and then syempre try to adapt that in the given melks of each subject. So for now, you're seeing the top three melks for the subjects. Actually, in our group, we are 8, and 2 are handling DISS subject. One handles Philippine politics and governance. Another teacher handles pre-calculus. One handle business math. Another is earth and life sciences, and the last 2 they handle general math. So for the D's, we've identified the 3 MELCs. So here, analyze the practical use of social sciences in addressing social concerns and phenomenon. Number 2, evaluate the roles and significance of Filipinos' indigenous social ideas to national development. 3, apply the social science ideas and its importance in examining the socio-cultural, economic, and political conditions. For the Philippine politics and governance, explain issues and programs related to political engagement and youth empowerment. Second MELC, analyze the nature of elections and political parties in the Philippines. And last one, analyze the roles and responsibilities of the Philippine judiciary. For the pre-calculus subject, solve situational problems involving inverse trigonometric functions and trigonometric equations. Solve situational problems involving circular functions, and apply the use of sigma notation in finding sums. So for the business math, use software like MS Excel or SPSS, programs to compute and present graphical representation of business data. Give real-life situations to illustrate fractions, decimals, and percent. And identify the different kinds of proportions and writes examples of real-life situations for each. For the earth and life science, categorize the different biotic potential and environmental resistance, example, diseases, availability of food, and predators that affect population explosion. Second, describe the process of genetic engineering, evaluate the benefits and risks of using GMOs. And last, describe how the unifying themes, example, structure and function, evolution, and ecosystem in the study of life show the connections among living things and how they interact with each other and with their environment. And lastly, for the general math, establishes the validity, the falsity of real-life arguments using logical propositions, syllogisms, and fallacies. solves problems involving business and consumer loans, amortization mortgage, example of that. And lastly, analyze the different market indices for stocks and bonds. So these are the identified top three MELCs in our subject areas. So when we are discussing through that FGD nga, we've noticed that it kind of difficult to actually combine all these subject areas. One is because some handles the UMS and the other handles the ABM and two handles the STEM. So how can that be possible? But of course, we've tried to come up with a common performance tasks, and we've included all the subject areas that we have in the group. So this is prepared by Group 1, the IHS INSET 2020 for grade 11. So me and Miss Makatangay handles the HUMS, and we teach this subject. And then for Mr. Salubre, who also handles the HUMS students, his subject naman is Philippine Politics and Governance. For Mr. Gigante, syempre, he's focused on the STEM students and handling pre-calculus. For Ma'am Salgado, it's a special subject that teaches the ABM students, and of course the subject there is business math. For Miss Politude, I don't know if I pronounced that surname correct. So for Miss Politude, it's a SHS core subject. So this subject naman is Earth and Life Science. For Mr. Villanueva and Mr. Fabella, these are all senior high school core subjects, and this is math, general math. So since we're actually a group composed of teachers coming from different strands and teaching different subjects, so we've decided to come up with a performance task that involves a social problem, and then we're in the for that social problem, we try to incorporate the math, the calculus, the pre-calculus, and Earth and Life and Sciences. So in that sense, so the performance task title is Stop the Child Labor in the Philippines. Obviously, the Stop the Child Labor in the Philippines, it's more on the D's subject because it talks about social problem. And with regard to the child labor, there are a number of child labor that occurs in the Philippines. So in that sense, we'll try to come up with or think of what specific child labor that we will discuss or that will be covered by the performance tasks. So because we have Earth and Life Science, so definitely maybe the children or the kids could focus on child labor that is involved in mining, or the child labor that endangers the life of children or youth, like engage in firecracker industry, etc., etc. So, but for that, in choosing the topic, because in choosing the topic, syempre, the students or the groups of that students will think what is that appropriate topic for that, no? But to give them an idea, ito nga, Stop the Child Labor in the Philippines. So, and of course, we have Philippine Politics and Governance that definitely talks about, it covers laws in the country. So we have here the basis of this child labor. We have RA number 9231, otherwise known as an act providing for the elimination of the worst forms of child and affording stronger protection for the working child. And then later it was amended into this Republic Act number 7610, otherwise known as the Special Protection of Children Against Child Abuse, Exploitation, and Discrimination Act, which was approved and already implemented. So we've seen that there are laws actually in protecting the child, especially in having this unfair child labor practices. But sadly, definitely, we've seen that these are still being committed or practiced against our children or the youth. No, so yan nga, up to the present time, the abusive child labor is still being practiced in our country. There are several child labors in the Philippines that endanger the lives of the children. So they can choose from those engaged in illegal mining, firecracker industry, etc. So in line with this, the Group 1 of DIHS INSET 2020 Grade 11 teachers have come up with an agreed integrated activity for the classes that we handle. This will be our culminating activity that will be presented in a virtual platform before the end of the semester. So we are 8 teachers in the group, and through our focus group discussion held last December 15, 2020, the group decided to have a skit/play, where the students will be asked to portray roles assigned to them. This is kind of similar to Maalaala Mo Kaya program in the ABS-CBN program in Channel 2 hosted by Ms. Charo Santos. So in this skit/play, the students will depict what is happening in the real-life scenarios, especially the young ones who are engaged in child labor. Basically, the story evolves in this situation. So we have the procedures or steps rather. So number 1, the teachers will orient the students about the upcoming culminating integrity of activity. This will be done on the first week of the second grading. So the second grading starts on January. So when we enter the class, we'll discuss the upcoming integrative activity. So maybe we could give the students about a month or 2, so for them to prepare for this skit or play. No? So the teachers will divide the classes into groups and then assign leaders coming from the students. Then these student leaders will have different committees to divide the task. So of course, one committee will handle the script preparation. One will handle how they do it in a video, and then another one will do some researches. What are the child labor practices being considered in the country? And of course, you try to relate them with the existing laws in the Philippines. And of course, the math students could also have the rubrics that will be used in assessing the said script or assessing the said performance task. Okay, so yeah, 3.1, some students taking up these business, math, and earth, life, and science subjects will be in charge of doing the research and decide on to what specific topic to be covered in their drama skit. So the students will then select a particular child labor case that is rampant in the Philippines, and from then, they will have their scripts written. So, of course, the D's, business, math, and earth, life, and sciences will take care of this because syempre, they will do the research. The business math will think of the ratio or the percentages of the child labor that is happening now in the country, and of course the earth and life and sciences will try to know if it's really dangerous for the child. Like for example, the child is engaged in mining or firecracker and other dangerous activities. No, and 3.2, as to develop the reasoning and logic ability through the help of the general mathematics subject, the students will decide on what to do with the existing growing number of unfair child labor practices in the Philippines. So they will present, of course, the tables and yeah. 3.3, combining their skills learned from the business math like MS Excel, SPSS, the students can compute how many child laborers are there in the country. 3.4, after learning all these pieces of information, the students will be able to come up with solutions on how to empower the youth and probably lessen, if not totally eradicate, the unfair practice of child labor in the Philippines. Exercising their right as children, they learn from their subject, politics and governance subject. 3.5, the skills that they learn from their pre-calculus subject will also be utilized, for they will design an appropriate rubrics for the said task. Okay, so through this performance task, it is very evident that there will be curriculum integration across all areas. All the skills and knowledge that they have learned from us teachers shall be reflected in this performance task. With proper guidance from the teachers, the students will develop their full potential and they will enjoy the learning because they can showcase their talents. We teachers should inject fun while learning. So the tentative date for the performance task is probably second week before the end of the semester to give the students enough time to prepare for this. So rubrics for grading, this kit play rubric is adapted from lex.org. and was also improved by the group, our group. Now, likewise, this rubric is just tentative, and to allow collaborative efforts and develop their skills as well, our students will be allowed to make changes with this given rubric before they do their performance test. So, of course, as teachers have a prepared rubric, but then when we present it to our class, we will ask the class, oh, is it okay? Is it fine that we include these categories? So this also empowers the students, our students, to decide for themselves, no? So how they are going to grade themselves. So it's actually a collaborative effort coming from the teachers and from the students as well. Okay, so we have the category, and then we divided the points in four. Wow, we have the 4 as the excellent. We have 3 points for good, 2 points for fair, and 1 point for poor. So we have one category here, the camera angles and movement. And then I will not read anymore the content of the rubrics, no, but I'll just say the categories. And then another category is the preparedness. Another category is content. Another category is props and costume. Another category is enthusiasm and acting dialogue. And the last category is the audience response. So everything we've included here in this group project or group report, we've got it from the lawfield.net as well as in the lex.org. So that's it. So if you have questions later, we could accommodate the questions. Thank you.